Hello, the purpose of this video is for me to help you walk through the analyzing high tide worksheet. So on step 1, we're going to look at the data table above. We're going to add the January dates to the x-axis. The x-axis is the independent axis, and that is right here. So since we're making a line graph, we're going to make sure that our axes are on the line. We're going to start with January 4th, followed by 8, 13, 16, 20, 23, 26, and 29. Step 1 completed. In step 2, we're going to add a title to the axis. The title for this is called Date. We also want to include that it's in the month of January. On step 2, we're going to draw the phases of the moon for each corresponding date. We can see that in this column. On January 4th, we have a full moon, so we're going to leave it completely empty, representing full light on the moon. On January 8th, we have a waning gibbous. A waning gibbous is mostly full, but a little bit of a shadow on the right-hand side. During a last quarter moon on January 13th, the left side of the moon is lit. So during a last quarter moon, the left side is lit. On January 16th, we're going to have a waning crescent, so the left side will be lit, and the right side will be, the light will be blocked out. On January 20th, we have a full moon, so we're just going to color the whole moon in. January 23rd, we have a waxing crescent, so the light is going to start to appear on the right hand side. Whoops, I made a mistake. So the crescent's on the right hand side. Then we have our first quarter where the right side is lit, followed by a waxing gibbous where it's almost full from the right side. Step 3, complete. On step 4, we're going to, on the x-axis, we're going to add the increments for feet. Be sure to evenly space them. Before we can do this, we need to find the maximum and minimum. If these are our axis, we need to find the maximum. So looking over it, looking over all of this, we can see that the maximum will be 5.2 feet and the minimum will be 3.1 feet. If you do the math, it's about 2.1 feet per square. We have about 20 squares here. We're just going to break the line and start at 3.1. For the sake of space on the video, I'm just going to skip every other line. Whoops, made a mistake. 0.5. Although we have only up to 5.1, we can just, anything that needs 5.2, we can just put it up here in this space. So now we did step 4. Step 5 says on the y-axis add the title. The title is called Height of High Tides. And it's in feet. Change my pen. So we're going to start using a red colored pencil. We're going to add the data points for the AM. These are the data points for the morning. On January 4th, we had a high tide of 4.7, followed by 4.3, 3.3, 4.0, 5.2, this is the high one, 5.1. We have no data for the 26th, but that's okay, because we're back down to 4.1 on the 29th. We got step 6. Now in step 7, we're going to connect the data points using a smooth, wavy line. We're going to come down, and back up, and down again. Now using a blue colored pencil, we're going to add the points for high tides for the PM. Those are these data points. On January 4th, we had a high tide in the afternoon at 3.6 feet, followed by 3.4 feet, 3.1, 3.2, 4.0, 4.3, 3.9, followed by 3.3. That's step 8. On step 9, we're going to connect the data points using a smooth, wavy line. That's step 9. Just going to change my colored pens. Now we're going to analyze. Answer the questions below using the data chart and graph. Be sure to list the date, time of day, AM or PM, feet, and moon phase in your answers as needed. So question 1 is asking, when did the highest high tide occur? We can see on the graph that the highest high tide occurred on January 20th. I'll do this for you. So here's the highest high tide that occurred on January 20th. And it was 5.2 feet. Also, it was in the morning. When did the lowest high tide occur? That occurred right here. That was on January 13th, and it was 3.1 feet. And that was in the afternoon. Number 2, when did the largest difference in high tide occur? On the same day. In the same day, the highest difference was right here. And that happened on January 20th. Number 3 says, when did the smallest difference in high tide occur on the same day? And that was here on January 13th. Number 4 is asking, were neap tides or spring tides higher? We can see that because spring tides are during a full moon and a new moon. So during the full moon, where the full moon is lit, we had very high tides, as well as whenever we had a new moon, we had very high tides, versus whenever we had a spring tide, whenever this would be a spring tide and this would be a spring tide, we can see the difference between the two were not much. And number 5, were there any other patterns that you noticed and that you can answer that on your own? I hope this helped.